Hey, good morning, everybody. I wanted to do some examples to help you with the project. Um, it's the garden project that we already started before spring break, but I added 4 extra questions so that you could do this for option 1 of your essential assignment. And so these examples are to help you with the part 2. You've got to do part 2 on this garden project if you want to count it as your essential assignment, and you need the essential assignment for a credit for this objective. So these examples are important. It's more factoring basically. The questions ask you, if you have a box, a plot of land that's rectangular, and you wanted to plant strawberries or green beans or whatever, and it gives you the area in terms of a polynomial. And so each of these polynomials up here represent the area of a rectangular piece of a garden. And what we're going to do is just factor these polynomials to get the dimensions of the garden. So it's just kind of a simple way to think about factoring. And let's go through these examples. The first one, I've only got 2 terms, 7x squared plus 28x. And so I'm going to factor this by just checking to see if there's a GCF, a greatest common factor. They both have an x. Also, 7 is divisible by itself, and 28 is also divisible by 7. So since both terms are divisible by 7x, I'm going to write 7x outside the parentheses, 7x times, inside the parentheses, I do 7x squared divided by 7x, just x. 28x divided by 7x, 28 divided by 7 is 4. X divided by x is just 1, so I just get an x there. So 7x times x plus 4. Those are the dimensions of the garden. So what I mean by dimensions are just, you have some garden, the width is 7x, and the length is x plus 4. That's all you do on that. So whenever it says, here's the area in terms of a polynomial, find the dimensions, just factor the polynomial, and that's your length and width of the garden. Okay, and so then another polynomial they had was a difference of 2 squares. This one's 25x squared minus 81. Well, they're both perfect squares, so I can factor them using that difference of 2 squares, and that's going to be square root of 25x squared is 5x, the square root of 81 is 9, so it factors 5x minus 9 times 5x plus 9. That's the pattern that we learned. And then those are the dimensions. And I don't remember what the problem in the project is asking, but basically they're telling you that you need to find what the dimensions are if x is equal to a certain number. Well, I know if I wanted to make up an x value, x can't be 1, because 5 times 1 is 5, and 5 minus 9 is a negative number, and I can't have this side be a negative number. It could be 10, but it could be 2, because 5 times 2 is 10, but 10 minus 9 is 1, that would be only 1 foot. It wouldn't be a very good garden. So maybe let's just say x is equal to 3. If x is equal to 3, then you would have the length is 5 times 3 minus 9. Well, let's call this the width because it's shorter. So that's going to be 15 minus 9, which is going to be 6. So the width would be 6. And then the length would be 5 times 3 plus 9. 15 plus 9, which is 24. So the width is 6, the length is 24 if x is equal to 3. So it's just, once you factor it, substitute. And then the last one, it's just a harder problem to factor. I'm going to set up a diamond. And this was like, I think the last video, the final video from last week, or maybe the one before. The video from Thursday. So I'm gonna do 14 times negative 20. Well, 2 times 14 is 28, so 14 times negative 20 is negative 280. And that's my product. My sum is going to be 27. And then I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to negative 280 but add to 27. Well, the way I'm going to do this is just try some things, so do a little guess and check. So I'm going to try two numbers that multiply to 280, negative 280, and I'm going to add them to see if they come out to be 27. The bigger number is going to have to be positive, and the smaller number is going to have to be negative because they add to a positive number. So I'm going to try 28 and 10. So 28 plus negative 10. But that's equal to 18. So no. So other two numbers. Well, let's see. 28 and 10 works. I could also try, let's see, I know 40 and 7. But when I get those, I'm down to 30. So I could, if I'm doing that, let's try it. 40 plus negative 7. That's 33, so it's closer. So I'm looking for a number that's less than 40, that 280 is divisible by. 280 is divisible by 20, but that's maybe too small. 280 is divisible by, well, let's try it. 20 times what? 14. That's not gonna work. That's only gonna be 6. So then I could do, what about this? 35 plus, okay, so I know it's gonna be 4 times 2, 8. 35 times 8, so plus negative 8. That'll work. So 35 and negative 8. So how do I do that? I'm just looking for different numbers that divide into 280. You can do that with factors. There's all kinds of ways to do it. You can get out your calculator and experiment with numbers and keep trying. But those are my two numbers, 35 and negative 8. So I'll put those here. And then I can make a box that has the 35 and negative 8, that has all the information I need. So in the top left corner, 14x squared, the bottom right is negative 20, and then I've got 35x minus 8x. And on the sides of the box are my greatest common factors. So 14x squared and negative 8x. So 14 and 8, they're both divisible by 2. That's it. So I'm going to put a 2x. And then 14x squared and 35x, they're both divisible by 7x. So So 2x times 7x is 14x squared. What times 2x is negative 8x? That's going to be minus 4. And then what times 7x is 35? Positive 5. So this factors, this whole thing factors the 2x plus 5 and 7x minus 4. So when I make my garden here, so this is the garden. It's not this box anymore. I'm gonna put for the width, I'll put 7x minus 4, and the length will be 2x plus 5. And then you're gonna basically do what it asks you to do to find the other part. But the biggest part on all of these is factoring them. And that's the hardest part. So I'm gonna leave you with this and leave the notes up there for a second so you can pause this and copy those down if you need to. And then ask me if you have more questions. Thank you.